It's time to live your stronger life. Hey, I'm Sammy, physio coach and nutritionist, and your hype girl for creating your stronger life. Here, we ditch the quick fixes and build real strength inside and out. So whether you're here to tone up, drop the body fat, build muscle, mental resilience, or ditch the diet culture, or just feel bloody good in your skin, you're in the right place. So let's get into it. All right, fam, welcome back. In today's episode, we are going to be busting some common social media myths, because I'm sure you have scrolled Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all the nonsense, and you have seen so much flip-flopping and crazy different pieces of advice, and you're like, wait, carbs are bad? No, wait. Am I meant to stop eating before 7 p.m? Is that bad? So I'm going to gain fat if I do that? Fruit is bad now? Oh, what about eggs? And then it's like, you're just like, oh my God, the next food item, you must eat this, don't do that, do this fast, only eat between this time window. These foods shouldn't be combined together. And you're just like, what the F is going on? I don't know what to eat. I just might as well eat air and water for the rest of my life. And you are not alone if it's been overwhelming and bloody confusing. Nutrition advice out there on social media is unregulated, loud, extreme, and often wrong and just BS and frustrating for us who like to just keep it simple and make it realistic for you. So in today's episode, I'm going to be clearing it up. No fear tactics, no gimmicks, no like BS. I'm just practical truths so that you can actually use it and can also understand a lot of the nonsense that is out there. Myth number 1, you don't eat after 6 or 7 p.m. or you're going to gain body fat. Fat gain does not run on a clock. It does not know what time of day that you are eating. Your body responds to the total calories intake over time, across your days, across your weeks, not the time of day that you eat. Think of fat loss like you are draining a cup. And each day that you're in a deficit, you're draining that cup slightly. And you just keep going and eventually it empties. Now, it's not happening, the cup doesn't suddenly stop emptying because it's 7 o'clock at night and then they go, you know what, fat loss, we're just going to turn it off now because it's 7 o'clock at night. Like, that is not how it works. The body does not know. But there is some nuance here. So eating earlier in the day, it may give you more energy. Therefore, you're going to move more, you're going to fidget more, you're going to naturally increase your daily activity, which could increase your energy output, which could help with your fat loss journey. But that's more about behavior and energy, and it has nothing to do with the magical clock on the wall. And the other consideration is if you eat really late at night, it may affect your sleep quality. But in the same flip-flop to that is if you're too hungry before going to bed, that also may affect your sleep quality as well. So it's not the time that you eat, it's what your week looks like, what your day looks like, what you consistently do is what matters most. All right, next myth. Skipping breakfast ruins your metabolism. Your metabolism does not naturally magically shut down because you skipped breakfast. Meal timing should match your appetite, your lifestyle, and your energy needs. Now, that being said, as a female, having a high protein breakfast can really help stabilize your energy levels, reduce late night overeating, and support muscle retention. As soon as you eat your protein, it is switching on muscle protein synthesis and it is preventing you from losing your muscles. So it can be very beneficial and give you stable energy throughout the day if you do have a high protein breakfast. But skipping breakfast on the flip side isn't automatically bad. It just depends on you. Some ladies are totally fine. They don't get bingy and can't stop eating all night long and struggle with energy levels by skipping breakfast. And some ladies do. And if you're one of the ladies who do really struggle, then eat your breakfast. If you train in the morning, eat your breakfast. There's nuance to it, but it doesn't instantly mean that you have ruined your metabolism because you skipped breakfast. And another myth, you must eat every 2 to 3 hours to stoke the fire and keep your metabolism going. Like, meal frequency doesn't boost your metabolism. It's your total intake that matters more than how often that you eat. And so why does regular eating help or not regular eating? Like, whatever works for you. Does it help you to have stable energy levels? Does it help you to eat your protein consistently throughout the day? Does it help you to manage your appetite so you're not ravenous and hungry? You know, when you've gone too long and you get hangry and then you rapidly overeat because you're so hungry, then yes, you should eat more frequently. You know, it does depend on the personal preference. 3 meals, 4 or 5 meals, also fine. Consistency beats timing every single time. And it's all about the total calorie intake. You can eat in a surplus and eat too much food in one meal. If you have one meal a day and you have like a 5,000 calorie meal, that would be insane, but it's probably wouldn't actually be that hard. Then it doesn't matter. You ate one meal a day, you still ate too many calories. You could spread your calories out throughout the day and have 1,000 calories. So like, it's not about the meal timing that matters. It's just about the actual calories in versus calories out. Honestly, it really does come down to that. However, with that being said, it's how you feel, your energy levels, your appetite, stability, things like that as well. So there's a lot of factors involved. There's no one size fits all when it comes to meal timing. All right, let's talk carbohydrate myths, such as carbs make you fat. No, carbs don't make you fat. Too many calories does. You can eat too many calories of lettuce and it will turn into body fat. You can eat too many calories of chocolate and it will turn into stored body fat. But carbohydrates themselves are a fuel. Carbs get broken down into glucose in your body. Glucose is the money to your bank account, the petrol to your car. It is the energy currency for your cells. So carbohydrates are just fuel for your training performance, for your recovery, for your brain function, for you just to live and function day to day, and also provides you fiber for your gut health. So if you've ever tried training like low carb and felt flat, that's why, because you ain't got any fuel in the tank. Fuel supports performance. Excessive calories is what drives fat gain. You can get fat eating anything, as well as you can lose fat technically eating anything. It's all about the calorie balance. Here's a weird one that I have to say I think I haven't heard in a long time, but I used to believe this back in my negative relationship with my food days when I was a teenager. It was never combine carbs and fats, because for some reason, I don't even know what I thought. I couldn't tell you why, because apparently it was bad for your digestion to have carbs and fats together. But your body has different enzymes to digest different nutrients, so it doesn't make sense. You have enzymes to break down carbohydrates, you have enzymes to break down dietary fats. It gets done like you break down more carbs in your mouth, and then, you know, in other areas in your digestive systems when you break down carbs and fats. I don't need to go into I don't want to go into the over details of it, but you break down carbs and fats in different parts, you absorb it in different parts, you have different enzymes to support you. There is no reason why you can't combine your carbs and fats, and actually having a balanced meal often improves your fullness and energy. So it's better to have a nice, healthy, balanced meal, and your body is designed to handle the mixed carbohydrate, fat, proteins in the mix. So I don't know why that one came from, but I remember it back in the day. Keto is the only way to lose fat. No, the only reason why keto works is because it puts you in a calorie deficit. The only reason why low carb works is it potentially puts you in a calorie deficit. It doesn't guarantee a calorie deficit. It just means you're cutting out a food group, so then maybe it's a bit of a restriction, so it might put you in a calorie deficit. That's it. All it is. There's no magic. It's not mandatory. And for many people, it's actually shit long term. It really sucks. Like, do you really enjoy eating a slice of bread, or do you enjoy eating a stick of butter? I definitely would prefer the slice of bread personally. Fruit has too much sugar, so you shouldn't have it. Fruit contains sugar, yes, but it also contains fiber, antioxidants, vitamins, hydration, and volume. Fruit is not sugar that you're getting from lollies. The fiber and the nutrient content that comes from fruit completely changes how your body processes it, and it has all these beautiful vitamins and minerals. It is so freaking good for you. Daily fruit intake is a positive, and the fact that fruit has too much sugar is absolutely fine, especially with a well-balanced, healthy diet. Absolutely fine. It's not something that you need to write home about or even worry about because of the fiber intake. That is what helps support the sugar side of things as well. All right, protein myths. High protein damages your kidneys. In healthy individuals, quite high protein intakes are absolutely safe. However, going far beyond your needs, it isn't harmful, it's just not necessary. You're just wasting calories on protein when you could be having it on carbs and fats, fruits and veggies, fiber, foods that you love. So once you hit your quota of what is recommended with protein, and it is a range, and there are factors that are involved depending on what amount of protein you should have, but let's just say really rough rule of thumb, most ladies do pretty damn well on 120 up to 160 grams of protein per day. That's like a pretty good range depending on your activity levels, your size, your body mass, your muscle mass, all of that jazz, and your age as well. Age is a really big one. But basically after that, like for most ladies, 180, 200 grams, 220, it's just absolutely not necessary, and you're better off spending those calories on carbs and fats that are going to make you feel amazing and you can enjoy more foods. And in the long term, super high protein diets are not well researched. There is quite high protein diets in short term studies and they seem pretty safe, but in the long term it's not we're not 100% sure. So hit your protein target and then go spend it on everything else that you need. Here's one that hopefully we're all starting to not worry about, because I think protein's such a big craze at the moment. It's not as important, like it's not as impactful in social media, but women think that they get bulky from eating protein. Protein does not make you bulky, because protein is just the bricks, the building bricks, but without the stimulus, without the blueprint, nothing's going to get built. It's just like the same as eating too many calories. The only reason you get bulky is because you're putting on body fat, because you're eating too many calories. But in order to build muscle, you still need progressive strength training, time, enough calories, and enough protein, and favorable genetics as well. So that bulky feeling is usually body fat and water retention, not from protein. Protein supports building muscle, but you have to lift weights in order for the protein to do its job to build the muscle. So there's more to it than just, I ate too much protein and then I got bulky. Not possible, unless you just ate too many calories and then you kind of got fat, would be the only other reason. The anabolic window. If you do not have a protein shake immediately after exiting your training session, it's wasted. Your training session wasted. Absolutely. It does not exist. It is not a 30-minute emergency. Get that protein shake in. What matters most is your total daily protein intake. There has been research that has someone ate, like not one person in the study, they got them to have 100 grams, like all their daily protein. I think it was 100 grams of protein in one day. All in one sitting, and then the other people had it split evenly throughout the day. And yes, there was a very tiny benefit for the people having it spaced throughout the day. Usually it's nicer on your digestion, it's a bit easier for your body to absorb and digest when it happens throughout the day, as opposed to one big intake, because it does like spike the muscle protein synthesis process, muscle building process, and then it kind of tapers off for the rest of the day. Whereas if you have regular intervals of hitting protein, it's just much more beneficial for that process. But it doesn't mean like you have to walk out the door from your training session and chug protein. Like generally speaking, you're eating a meal pretty consistently afterwards anyway, so it's totally fine. As long as you get a meal with high quality protein within a reasonable time frame, you will be absolutely fine. You are not wasting your gains. All right, fat myths. This one's just a nice easy one. Fat makes you fat. No. Fats are calorie dense, yes. So for every 1 gram of carbohydrates, there's 4 calories. For every 1 gram of protein, there is 4 calories. And for every 1 gram of fats, there are 9 calories. So gram for gram, fats are twice as dense calorie-wise as carbs and protein. Yes, but it still doesn't mean that you're going to put on body fat unless you're just eating simply too much. Fats are so important for your hormone health, your brain health, for vitamin and mineral absorption, for skin and hair health. Do not fear fats. We just use them strategically and fit them within your calorie budget. Excessive calories drive fat gain, not one specific nutrient, not carbs, not fats, none of that. A few more off the cuff, good versus bad food myths. So sugar is toxic. Nope. Your body breaks down carbohydrates into glucose anyways. The difference between sugary foods and high fiber carbs is the speed of digestion. It's not poison versus safe. At the end of the day, glucose is glucose, and it's going to get broken down into that for the body to utilize. But if you have a very high starchy, fibrous veggie that also has lots of other beautiful vitamins and minerals in it, it's going to take longer to break down into glucose, so it gives you more slow release sustainable energy in comparison to eating some lollies that's already glucose that just goes shunk straight into the cells. And if you go shunk and have way too much sugar and way too much like quick acting, it just spikes your blood sugar levels very quickly. The body's got to respond really rapidly to try and get it into the muscle cells, or it can't do it quick enough. And if it can't do it quick enough, it's like, if you're at here's a good one. You're at a nightclub and there's a huge long ass line. So imagine if you just have a really sugary meal or have some lollies, that's like everyone's swarming to get into the nightclub as quick as they possibly can. There's this huge lineup, right? And there's only so many bouncers letting people in at a time. So it slows that process down. Now, if you're exercising and so you have some sugary food and then you go and exercise, it's like hiring more bouncers and letting more people in the door a bit quicker. So it's really supportive of that. It makes your body be able to open some more doors and you can sneak some more people in. So it's super beneficial. But if you're eating a high sugary diet and then you're just kind of chilling, maybe you're quite overweight, then you've got less doors open. You've got less bouncers working. You've got more of this glucose just hanging out in your bloodstream and not getting into the cells as quickly or as effectively. So that's when we have more fibrous foods. It means there's just more people trickling in slowly, trying to turn up at all various time points. There's not a huge wait list to get into the nightclub. So hopefully that makes sense. It visualized in my head, it made sense. So the difference between having sugary foods and high fiber foods is just like the speed of how people can get in the door. And if there's too much too quickly, it's just going to be sitting there, and that can also cause issues. If we do have really high blood glucose levels elevated for quite a while, that can cause long-term damage in your arteries. That's how you can get atherosclerosis and arterial sclerosis, can be because of the blood sugar levels chilling in your blood vessels for a really long period of time. That can kind of cause cardiovascular issues. But as long as if you have like a high sugary kind of meal and then you go for a walk, you go do some exercise, you go lift weights, even better, go lift weights, that's going to like hire some more bouncers, open some more doors up, get that glucose into the house, get them into the nightclub a little bit quicker and a little bit more efficiently and effectively. Lifting weights makes you more sensitive to insulin. So that's why it's really, if you're going to have like more sugary foods, time it around your training. And if you're going to have more high fiber foods, time it a little bit away from training so you can have that slow, like if you're going to have it like 2 hours before training, and then have like your higher like sugary kind of more processed carbs, like, within 60 to 30 minutes of training, so you get quicker energy versus slower release energy. But it's dosage, it's context, it's all in balance. There's not like sugar has its place in this sort of space, especially around training as well. Okay, here's another one. Gluten and dairy are inflammatory, and everyone should be gluten and dairy free. Unless you're intolerant or allergic, there's no reason to exclude anything. Gluten and dairy is absolutely fine. If you digest them well, they're fine. Just have them. Similarly to the sugar stress and the gluten and everything worry that everything's bad, processed foods are bad. I think processed foods are just like really poorly defined, because if you think about it, protein powder, you can get pure whey protein isolate. It is so good for building muscle. It is one of the best sources of protein, like high quality, high well absorbed, and it gets considered processed. Like it's processed. Greek yogurt is processed. Frozen vegetables technically is processed. Oats, rolled oats, is processed. Like, where are you going to draw the line on what's processed and not processed? And labeling foods as good or bad often just leads to restriction, which then leads to binging or rebounding. A better framework is like more often foods, less often foods. So, more often foods are your fruits and your veggies and your whole grains and like your single ingredient foods. I like to think of it as like your single ingredient foods. They're your more often foods, and your less often foods are the ones with lots of ingredients on the label, but you love them anyways. And so you just have them a little bit less frequently. Your diet shouldn't be predominantly the processed foods, but a little bit is absolutely fine. Your body can handle it. And then also along that vein, artificial sweeteners are dangerous, or seed oils are dangerous. They're all not. Read the research. Don't listen to your fave influencer, because they should not become your fave influencer anymore. Read the real research. Artificial sweeteners are totally safe. Seed oils are totally safe in moderation. But I'm pretty sure it's like to have that, I don't even know how many cans it is off the top of my head, but it's something stupid like 50 cans of Diet Coke to get enough aspartame for it to actually be an issue in one day, not just over your lifetime, in one day, in one go. No one is drinking that much Diet Coke. Your stomach would explode from all the bubbles. So for many people, it's absolutely fine in moderation. In fact, it can help you to stay consistent with your fat loss journey, having artificial sweeteners, because it's like virtually 0 calories and it gives you that sweet fix. So it can be really beneficial to actually help you stay on track with your fat loss journey. However, if it does upset your digestion, obviously adjust it and avoid it or minimize it. And maybe instead of getting artificial sweeteners or like alcohol sweeteners, switch to like stevia. Stevia is a more natural form of like a artificial sweetener. It's not artificial because it comes from a plant, but it's a sugar alternative. But anyways, it is not the devil. It is not it's not dangerous. It's not the villain. It's not anything you need to worry about. Just everything in moderation is absolutely fine. Like, you can literally die on drinking too much water. So literally everything in moderation, and you will be absolutely fine. All right, here's some detox and gimmick myths that we need to bust. Juice cleansers detox your body. Your liver and kidneys detox your body. Your skin detoxes for your body. That's why you sweat. That's why you go to the loo. That's why I'm not going to go into that detail, but that's what detoxing is. Detoxing, drink lots of water, have lots of beautiful fruit and veggies, lots of fiber, get good sleep, get movement, get sunlight. That's going to support your liver and kidneys. It does all the detoxing for you. You don't need to do a juice cleanse to detox your body. It's just a waste of money and probably sanity. Apple cider vinegar does not melt fat. It is a condiment, not a fat loss tool. I'm just going to leave that there. It ain't going to do nothing but just, yeah. Fat burner teas and magic pills. These are, think of supplements as sprinkles on a beautifully baked cake with gorgeous icing, beautiful ingredients. That's your foundation. Build a beautiful cake. Lay the icing down. Sprinkles on top, that can be your supplements. Now, there's actually, without all of that base stuff, the fat burner supplements will do absolutely nothing. You need to have the basics before any supplement, and then the supplement, all it's going to do is add, maybe 1% to your journey. And so it's just a waste of time and money if you're not doing everything else perfect. If you're absolutely perfect on everything else, maybe it will give you a slight edge, but more often than not, the fat burner teas especially not, because they just cause gastro issues from everything we've seen, and magic pills and whatnot. But some supplements can help to just regulate your appetite a little bit. It may help you, give you a bit of energy, so you naturally move and fidget a little bit more, and therefore you have a bit more energy output. It can do very, very tiny little differences like that, but none of that matters if you do not have the fundamentals in place. So focus on that first. All right, some weight loss myths. Number 1, you must eat 1,200 calories. Most people absolutely do not need to go that low. Some people will have to go that low. 95% of you won't, and you're probably not one of those people that actually need to go down to 1,200 calories. It is just where it actually came from? It came from some research study, and that's just what they did in the research study, and it showed evidence of it working. And then some reason, somehow over the years, it's just become the staple. Ladies want to lose weight, they just go straight to 1,200 calories, or they go straight to 1,500 calories. No, you need what's right for you, because too aggressive is going to lead to extreme fatigue, poor training, losing all your muscle mass, which is what we really need to avoid especially if you're over 30. You're going to have huge nutrient gaps, and you're just going to risk rebound weight gain. You're going to hate your relationship with food. You're going to hate your relationship with your body. You're potentially going to affect your hormones, your menstrual cycle, your hunger, your appetite cues. You know what the smarter approach is? Diet on the highest calories that you can actually achieve and still make progress. And that needs to be specific and customized to you. It's not a one size fits all. Here's one that's going to break everyone's heart, but hopefully you do start to know this one by now. You can't spot reduce belly fat. You cannot choose where your fat comes from. That is very genetic, very male versus female, but you can build muscle to change your shape and reduce your overall body fat, but you can't burn one area directly. But if you want the appearance of a smaller waist, then you should just grow your back, grow your lats, grow your shoulders, and then your glutes is going to give you that appearance of a smaller tapered waist. But you cannot spot reduce, and belly fat is often the last one to go because it's around all of your protective organs, so it's the last place. Here is another common one that is very poorly understood. Fasted cardio burns more fat. Okay, so during the training session, you do burn potentially more fat, because what happens is when you are exercising, your body needs to tap into energy stores in order to fuel your body. And so if you have not eaten anything, you're fasted, then the body is technically going to tap into your stored body fat to break it down to use it as energy. But then later in the day when you're eating, there's going to be a time in the day where you bring in more food than you're putting out, because you're not exercising all day long, right? So when you bring food in, your body is then going at some time point in the day, you're going to be in a surplus. And then at some points in the day, you're going to be in a deficit. And if at the end of the day, consistently over time, you're in a deficit, then you're still in a deficit, and you are going to be breaking down body fat eventually. But sometimes you're going to be a little bit more, and sometimes you're going to be a little bit less. And so when you do fasted cardio, technically you are going to potentially tap into more stored body fat during that time frame. But then later in the day when you're eating, your body's going to restore that energy to use it for later as well. So across the day, it balances out. Fat loss comes back to the calorie balance consistently. So if you feel like shit doing fasted cardio, then don't do it. Just do whatever makes you feel best, and do it consistently. That's the main thing. And the key is that you're in a calorie deficit consistently. Do not rely on cardio just to burn fat, to drop body fat. That is not going to work for you. You need to focus on your nutrition, because there's other things that can backfire when you do that as well. For example, if you do fasted cardio, then maybe it leaves you really bloody hungry later in the day. So then you accidentally overeat because you're not tracking your calories. So as long as you're tracking your calories and you know that you're in a calorie deficit through the food that you're eating, then the cardio and the exercise doesn't really matter as much, because it's all going to add up to the math equation. But if you just rely on cardio without tracking your calories, then your body's going to respond by accidentally increasing decreasing your energy input because it's increased your energy output. So your body's always going to try and make a balance. So you actually need to consciously know how many calories you're having, so then you can make sure that it is in a deficit. If you just rely on intuitive eating and how you feel, but then you increase your cardio to drop body fat, then you're just going to naturally increase your calories intake because the body's like, oh my God, I'm burning more energy, I need more food, right? So fasted cardio burns more fat while you're doing it, but across the day, it does not matter. It does not change anything. And you know what? Me personally, I'd rather have a little bit of food in my system so I actually have some energy so I can push harder in my cardio, so I actually get better results and more effectiveness out of it. If you're like starving, hungry, low energy, and then try and slog through a session, it's not going to feel as good. You're not going to recover as well, and you're not going to perform as well. So it's not going to be as beneficial. So again, personal preference down to what works for you, but do not do fasted cardio because you think that it is going to make you lose more body fat than doing cardio later in the day, because that is just not how it works. Cheat meals boost your metabolism. Okay, first of all, throw the word cheat out the window. I bloody hate using that word because you're not cheating. You're not a bad person. You're not cheating on your diet. You are making a conscious decision to have a meal that is maybe higher calorie, maybe a soul meal, a fun meal, a meal with friends, an untracked meal, a meal off the plan. Use any of those languages because that makes more sense. You're not cheating. You're not a bad person. It's not a moral act to eat a certain meal. It's just like you're choosing to have a meal that doesn't quite fit within your calories. It's a bit more fun. But in that regard, it does not magically reset your metabolism. Having structured refeeds or maintenance breaks can reduce diet fatigue. It can improve your training performance. It can restore energy and help your adherence. It's not a hack to your metabolism. It's a hack to your actual whole process of how you're able to stay consistent on your fat loss journey. It is a tool. And for some people, having that one meal out on the weekend with the fam, with your partner, whoever, go out for a restaurant meal, and that connection and social time together helps you to stay consistent with your diet in the long term, then that is fabulous. That isn't a cheat meal boosting your metabolism. That is just a free meal being a human being that helps you to stay consistent. The language matters, and the way that you approach it really matters as well. Right, so how do you spot bad advice online? Some red flags: fear-based language, never or always rules around food, rapid weight loss promises, demonizing a single nutrient, no evidence, like, oh, this is by the evidence, but it's actually not evidence-based, which is BS, or selling a miracle product. Basically, if it sounds extreme, it probably is. And here is a simple framework that actually works. Instead of chasing trends, focus on prioritizing your protein, eating your fruit and veggies daily, not fearing carbs or fats, drinking enough water, sleeping well, move your body, be consistent. And if you don't track your food, but if you really just will not do it, use at least simple portions such as palm-sized protein, 1 to 2 fists of veggies, 1 to 2 little cup handfuls of carbohydrates, and a thumb of fats. And shift your mindset away from, is this a bad food, to how can I include this food in a balanced way? Balance. Think not black and white, grey. We're going to live in a world of grey over here. Thanks so much for listening. If you found this episode valuable, please rate, review, and subscribe. And I'd love if you shared this on your Instagram and tag me, Sammy_livestrong. And if you'd like to learn more about my coaching and join the Project Livestrong family, please message me, Livestrong, on Instagram, and I'll see how I can help. I'll see you next time.